DiJonai. Your game was stinking in the mud, and the Dallas Wings wanted nothing to do with you going forward.
Now, DiJonai Carrington couldn't keep her hands clean either. Would stand out of headlines on the internet. She was always in headlines, punching players in the eye. And then we have to remember, she nearly injured Paige. Like, everybody forgot about that. Y'all remember when she nearly injured Paige, nearly took her whole knee out? Like, we got to remember all of those things transpired during this basketball season, man. I'm here to tell you, they made it their business to get rid of her.
DiJonai, DiJonai, you're always in a dirty play. DiJonai, DiJonai, once again, here we are today. Oh, DiJonai, DiJonai.
As everyone else has seen this angle, I'm calling her in and I'm saying to her, I need answers.
So it looked like DiJonai Carrington just got booted from the Dallas Wings.
Went and kind of swatted at Caitlin. Did you intend to hit her in the eye? And if so, could you just, or if not, either way, could you talk about what happened on that play?
I don't even know why I would intend to hit anybody in the eye. That doesn't even make sense to me. But no, I didn't. I didn't know I hit her, actually. I was trying to make a play on the ball, and I guess I followed through and I hit her. So obviously it's never intentional. That's not even like the type of player that I am.
Let's watch it. And this will give us a couple of different angles.
Directions of games. And your tip, Diggins, who's still fast, gets down the floor, buries it, draws the foul, but is shaken up.
The Minnesota Lynx didn't make a panic move. They made a calculated one. They looked at the table, saw what everyone else was afraid to touch, and said,
Oh, and there's Skylar on the floor. At first glance, this might not look too bad. But when we get some different angles of it, you just see how this is clearly, definitely, 100% not a basketball play. Let's take a look. We got DiJonai.
Signals for the officials that this will likely get upgraded.
DiJonai, did you forget what sport you're playing? You know this is basketball, right?
Ball's being pushed down court. Whoa. Yeah, I mean, this will be a better angle of it. I think we'll be able to see how hard the foul is right here. That's a hard foul, and she does get her in the face when she's coming down.
DiJonai Carrington is clearly a dirty player. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And if the chin, what do you have going on in that mind of yours? Are you okay? DiJonai, are you okay? DiJonai, are you okay? Are you okay? DiJonai, are you okay? DiJonai, are you okay? Are you okay? Yes, DiJonai. Get it together, collect your thoughts, collect your emotions, because the last thing we need to see you is crash out.
We can use that. They traded for DiJonai Carrington at just the moment the conversation around her felt the loudest. Not to quiet it, no, to channel it. When a title window is open, noise becomes leverage. Energy becomes impact. And defenders who bother stars are currency.
She basically reached around Shepard's body, but the fact that she went for the basketball and for the block really...
The basketball play.
Yeah, it is. And she ends up getting Shepard in the face, the nose. I don't know which takes precedent. Oh, see, it's the hit the ball and then it's the pull back. They're showing it on the Jumbotron at a different angle that sort of looked like, watch after Carrington goes for the block, watch her pull back right here. And that's the part that I don't know if you separate that.
Like, I'm sorry, you don't get to plow through somebody's back, almost injure a teammate, and then say, yeah. and then like claim that you've done nothing. You've done nothing. Like, and people are like, stand on business. She's like trying to laugh at it. I'm like, no, you're just Pat Bev. You're not Draymond. You're Pat Bev. Like, realistically, you're Pat Bev. That's it. And like, look, I mean this when I say this. It was a dangerous play only for Paige.
Let's start where the league jolted. In early August, Dallas shipped Carrington to Minnesota for Diamond Miller, Carly Samuelson, and a 2-7 second-round pick, and even waived Tierra McCowan to clear the path. That's not tinkering.
Was it a flagrant 1? Yes. Could it have been called a flagrant 2? Yes. Was it more dangerous to Paige Beckers than anyone else? Because Paige Beckers was the one who was the person who had to break Jessica Shepard's fall. Could she have blown out her teammate's knee? Yeah. Yeah. Like, that is what, like, realistically, that is what the conversation should be about. Because she wanted the Kiki Iriafen viral meme. Because as soon as she did it, look at what she does as soon as she did it. As soon as she did it, she walks towards Jessica Shepard and just tries to do the Kiki Iriafen face.
WNBA player who tried to rip Caitlin Clark's eye out. Zach Dean over at Outkick, hilarious. They tried to rip Caitlin Clark's eye out, has security called on her by ref. That's right. The referee had to call security on DiJonai Carrington. I can't say I'm surprised. I mean, hell, who wants to catch a stray eye gouge, a scoopage of the eyeball out, watching your eyeball roll across the floor because somebody's mad at one of your calls?
DiJonai Carrington, we are not even 10 games into the season. There are more times than not of DiJonai playing dirty, get a flagrant foul. Oh my goodness, DiJonai, what's wrong with you, man?
Check this out right here. Yeah, you see this guy right here? Right in this Gentero area? Let me just, you see this guy? The ref asked this dude to step out here. All right? Now, Cheryl Swoops wants this referee fired.
That's a reset. The Lynx, sitting atop the standings, didn't need a savior. They needed an edge they didn't already have. A two-way wing who can crank the pressure to 11, who makes scorers take an extra half step to think before they drive. And if Nafisa Collier needs a night to get right, or if roles shift heading into the playoffs, having a high-energy stopper who can swing possessions is not a luxury. It's insurance against the kind of series that's decided by 5 loose balls and 1 late stop.
It's a breaking Dallas Wings. DiJonai Carrington has been traded to the Minnesota Lynx in exchange for Diamond Miller, Carly Samuelson, and Minnesota 2027 second-round pick. The team sources has confirmed that. Now, that's crazy because last time we seen DiJonai Carrington interacting with Minnesota players, y'all remember this on Stud Buzz, right? Listen.
Just watch your step. I got this. Okay, well, now we're even because your dog's shit and piss in our room.
Oh, wow.
We're even. Hey, all right, one more thing. Hey, I love how direct you are. That's Courtney. It's time to go. Come on, bitch.
Just watch your step. No, we all remember that, and that was quite funny.
Meanwhile, in Dallas, this was a pivot with teeth. The Wings season had been a tangle of injuries, mix-and-match rotations, and we'll-fix-it-tomorrow nights that never quite came together. They brought Carrington in during that 4-team February whirlwind, then fast-forwarded to summer and flipped the script again.
Hey, DiJonai, they not really rocking with you. They're trying to get rid of you. They're giving no reassurance that they want you around at all. You can't get in the game in the fourth quarters. You're buried in the bench. You've been awful this season. It looks like you've forgotten how to play basketball completely. And what do you know? Good morning. DiJonai Carrington has been traded. DiJonai Carrington has been traded to the Minnesota Lynx. And she's not going to be going for your tomfoolery, your BS. When you get over there, trim the nails down, play basketball, and stop all that nonsense that you be doing. Stop all the flagrant fouling. Look, Cheryl Reeves ain't going to be going for all that. She ain't going to be going for your bull crap. You will be buried in the bench over there too. Cheryl Reeves will bury your ass in the bench over there too. Bring your game, not your name. Bring your game, not your fake fame.
You don't make a move like that unless you're committing to a new arc. Diamond Miller brings size, length, and that sweet spot promise of a young player whose shot is finally behaving. Carly Samuelson brings clean geometry. Space the floor, flatten the defense, punish the help. When she's healthy, her gravity tilts the court. This is how a team changes shape. Less friction, more flight paths.
Listen, DiJonai, I told you last time. I'm going to tell you again. You better bring your game to Minnesota or next season you might not even be here. You might not even be here next year. You might be playing on a minimum next year to be in this league. Straight up. You got to understand, you was the same person going on podcasts talking about if we don't get what we want, we sitting and all that. You're not even good enough to be out here talking like that.
And a timeline that hugs your new core tighter. But you can't talk about Carrington's value without addressing the thing that keeps dragging her name back into the storm, the tape. It's not one clip, it's a stack. May 21st against the Lynx. Hard contest on Jessica Shepard. Ends up a flagrant. The kind of play that gets slowed down frame by frame because real time doesn't answer intent. Fast forward a couple of weeks to Seattle, and there's that chase down on Skylar Diggins-Smith. Contact up high, Diggins hits the deck, whistle goes from common to flagrant. Sprinkle in the Sky Game heat and the flagrant there, and you don't need a debate show to see why fans feel a pattern. In isolation, any one of those plays can sound like an accident. Stack them, and you've got a narrative that writes itself. And then there was the moment that ripped straight through the usual post-game noise, a referee calling for security while talking to a player. Think about how rare that is. You've watched this sport for years. You've seen plenty of back and forth, plenty of talk to me, don't talk to me exchanges at midcourt. But a ref waving over security? That image freezes the conversation and brands it. Carrington went online and called it out as over the top, worse than that. A coded move that shouldn't happen. And when the smoke cleared, nobody was arguing about a box and one or dribble handoffs anymore. They were arguing about people. Tone. Power. How a player looks. How a player is perceived and how much that matters when the next whistle blows. If you roll the tape even farther back, you hit the clip that cemented her in the public imagination. The 2024 playoffs. The eye contact with Caitlin Clark. That bruise became a meme, a storyline, a shorthand. People used to describe a defender they didn't like even before she took the floor. But here's the detail that never gets loud enough. Clark herself said it wasn't intentional and that her eye felt okay afterwards. Will that nuance follow Carrington around? Of course not. Fans aren't nuance. Fans are momentum. And once the collision between your reputation and a superstar's face becomes a screenshot, good luck peeling it off. So what's real and what's projection? The truth is not a tidy sentence. Carrington plays fast and at a height where hands and heads are neighbors. She contests aggressively. She reaches into passing lanes other players leave alone and jumps at angles most defenders don't attempt. That style is spectacular when it lands flush. Steal, break, run the lane, pressure the rim, and it's wildfire when it misfires. Contact up high, hard falls, 1,000 slow-motion replays. You can call it reckless or relentless. You can call it dirty or driven. The footage isn't going to tell you how to feel. It's only going to keep you watching. Minnesota's gamble is that structure beats chaos. That inside a Cheryl Reeves system, where rotations are crisp, help comes on time, and mistakes get ironed out by film sessions and accountability, Carrington's energy can be trimmed into a blade. Imagine her minutes scripted like this. Hound the ball for 8 straight possessions, blow up a dribble handoff, take a charge that swings a quarter, leak out for 2 easy ones, and then, the second the meter tilts into risky, sit. No speeches, no drama, just guardrails. On a great team, your worst impulses don't get to stay longer than your best sequences. That's the deal. Now flip back to Dallas. They didn't just trade a player. They recalibrated how they want the game to look. Miller is the kind of long forward who can be quiet for 2 quarters and then hit 2 threes, block a layup, and live in the passing lane for 3 minutes that flip a result. Samuelson's shooting gives your stars clean reads. Double? Fine. Kick. Soft closeout? Punish. She's not the headline, but she can be the breath between sentences that makes the whole paragraph read smoother. You could feel Dallas shifting away from nights where the conversation is about skirmishes and back toward nights where the conversation is about spacing, synergy, and who got hot from the corner. Of course, none of this erases what's already on tape. That's not how this works. Carrington isn't starting from zero in Minnesota. She's starting from whatever people decided she is, which is why the first week matters. The first game action after the trade, the first closeout, the first collision. If the whistles are clean and the contests are loud but legal, the narrative starts to soften. Not disappear, never that, but bend. Let her force a turnover that seals a win in a top-seed matchup, and suddenly Dangerous starts sharing space with Clutch. Let her pick off a pass meant for a superstar and take it the other way in a building that sounds like a freight train, and suddenly the word is winner. That's how quickly the public rewrites you, one moment at a time. And if it doesn't land, if the same borderline plays show up and the same reactions follow, then the Lynx will do what contenders do. They'll shrink the role. They'll cut the minutes, deploy her like a specialist, and use the leverage of a deep roster to get the good without paying for the bad. That's the luxury Minnesota bought. Not just a player, but optionality. You can ride the wave when it's carrying you, and you can step back when it's crashing. Here's the part most people miss when they talk about dirty versus hard. The league itself decides what crosses the line. Not a fan account, not a clip with 1 million views. The officials, the upgrades, the fines, the suspensions. If a player crosses that threshold, the penalties stack up and the minutes vanish. Carrington's ledger this season is already heavier than you want. It's not a death sentence for her role, but it raises the stakes. Every borderline play is now a referendum, and the officials know the file is thick. That's pressure. But pressure isn't just for the player. It's for the coaching staff to demand technique, for teammates to communicate early, for everyone to value a clean contest more than a viral block. Think about the potential chemistry in Minnesota when it goes right. Picture a fourth quarter where the Lynx are up 3 2 minutes left. The opponent runs a hammer action to spring a corner shooter. Carrington cheats the screen by half a step, blows up the baseline exchange, and the pass sails out of bounds. On the next trip, she streaks to the corner, catches on the swing, and buries a short corner jumper. Not a heat check, not a hero shot, just the shot in the script. That sequence doesn't trend like a scuffle, but that sequence wins you playoff games. And in a locker room like Minnesota's, a player who gives you 3 of those in a week becomes family fast. Meanwhile, the Wings can breathe. You could feel it the second the trade went through, a little less static in the air. Rebuilding isn't a bad word when the pieces fit the picture. When Dallas has its full complement again, the floor balance gets calmer. The rookies have lanes to grow. The vets know where the ball is going and why. The team identity flips from reactive to proactive. That's not about one player being a problem. It's about a franchise deciding what kind of problems it wants to solve. The Wings picked spacing, skill growth, and a quieter drumbeat. And when a team chooses that with conviction, it shows up on the scoreboard. Let's circle back to the origin myths that stick to players. 2024's eye contact with Clark will trail Carrington for years because it attached to a phenomenon. That's the cost of colliding with a star during a moment when the league's audience is peaking. But choosing to let that clip define the rest of a career is a choice fans make, not a law of physics. If she stacks clean, elite defensive segments on a contender, the algorithm adjusts. If she doesn't, well, that's a different kind of clarity too. The market is brutally honest. It keeps what helps you win and trims what doesn't. There's nowhere to hide in May and June. There's also an uncomfortable, necessary layer to this: perception and bias. The security moment didn't just spark debate about conduct. It ignited questions about who gets judged how, by whom, and why. Players live in that context whether they want to or not. Some get the benefit of the doubt. Some don't. Carrington sees that. The ref sees that. The fans, whether they admit it or not, see it too. None of that absolves a late arm to a face or a reckless contest. It just explains why the conversation around the same contact can sound so different depending on the jersey and the nameplate. So where does this all land? On edge management. On a defender who can tilt games learning how to win minutes without feeding her worst highlight reel. On a contender that believes structure will turn that edge into winning plays. On a team that chose spacing over sparks because the room needed stillness. And on a league where narratives sprint faster than facts, and the only antidote is what happens on the floor tonight. Here's the thing about reputations. They don't reverse. They evolve. Carrington's won't flip from too much to perfect because of one clean month. But if she stacks a string of playoff-ready shifts, hounding the point of attack, staying vertical at the rim, finishing in transition, taking angles instead of risks, the story will creep. And if the Lynx hoist a trophy with her in the playoff rotation, the story will leap. Winning doesn't wash away everything, but it reframes it in a light that's hard to ignore. And for Dallas, this is how you get back to building. Get healthy. Get your shooters comfortable. Give the young core a shape they can trust. Decide who you are when the off nights hit. The West is a furnace. You don't survive it with vibes. You survive it by putting 5 players on the floor who know exactly what the next pass is supposed to be. So here's the final question worth arguing about. How much edge is worth the risk? Because that's the real debate inside front offices, not whether a clip looked bad in slow-mo. It's whether the edge gives you 4 extra stops across a series, whether it steals you a game on the road, whether it makes a superstar think twice late. If the answer is yes, you make the trade and you set the guardrails. If the answer is no, you make the trade the other way and you buy time and spacing. Minnesota made its choice. Dallas made theirs. The rest is going to be decided in the only court that matters. And the next time a whistle blows and the room holds its breath, remember, edge and excess are separated by inches, and inches decide rings.